Top 10 hottest comics of the week in coverprice.com. Coverprice.com is a really cool site. They don't pay us to say this. I truly believe it. Really cool site that delivers the data based. The hot comics are based on actual sales data that CoverPrice collects, and they come up with this top 10 list each week on a Tuesday. We do things a little bit differently. Our show's on Friday. We like to collect all the news, but we like to incorporate these top 10 hottest comics that they reported on Tuesday. So here we go. The top 10 hottest comics from this previous week were Venom #3, Ryan Stegman third printing, the first appearance of Knull. This thing is hot, really hot, to the point like it's a few $100s. It's just not slowing down. Ultimate Fallout #4, first appearance of Miles, that has not left this top 10 list. Venom #9, I do believe that's the first appearance of Venom's son Dylan. #7 is The Old Guard, #1. The Old Guard just debuted on Netflix, I do believe, last week, and I haven't seen it yet, but apparently everybody is raving about it. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, The Last Ronin #1. How cool does this look? We'll be talking a little bit more about that in a second. Catwoman #23, the Wu Chul Lee variant, first appearance of Catgirl as well. #4, we have Strange Academy #1. #3, the Thor 5, the first appearance of Black Winter. Donny Cates is just dominating this list. Catwoman #23, the original cover is, again, the first appearance of Catgirl. And #1 is Venom #25. It's the first cameo of the new villain, Virus. Now, as we like to do every week with this top 10, Chris dives in and gets to the heart of this list and gives you the facts and his take on these on at least 3 issues a week. So, Chris, let's get into it right now. How about?
Yeah, lots of good stuff to pick. It was a tough one to pick. 3 out of this 10, besides one, and that's the first one I'm going to talk about. In no particular order. This book, though, is I'm most excited about this book. That's the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, The Last Ronin #1. I am a big Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle fan. My first comic book ever was a Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles book. I started drawing Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles at like 4 years old. I have this book pre-ordered. Here's the thing. This book is on the top 10 list and it's not even released yet. These are pre-order sales. That says something. Again, this is not one of the 2 big publishers. This is a take on the Ninja Turtles that I think is, almost 40 years coming. Not to get too deep into the storyline, I don't really want to give too much away, but basically, there's one brother left. 3 of them have died. And he goes on a mission to avenge his fallen brothers. I am hoping to see such a darker, gritty side of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles that relates to the original Eastman and Laird work, but takes it to an even much deeper level, and also modern level that really dives into the characters, like really gets deep and personal with the characters. I can't wait for this book. This is probably my most at least one of my most anticipated books as a collector, as an adult, hands down. So I can't wait for when it comes out. I'll probably do a review on it on my channel. So yeah, I could keep talking about this book. So that's the first one today. Everyone should, if you're a Ninja Turtle fan, if you like reading independent stuff that's not, of the big 2, go check this book out. Get yourself a pre-order. Absolutely. All right. So second book I wanted to talk about, which brings up a different side of the industry and of collecting that I don't think gets talked about a lot these days. And that's Strange Academy #1. Strange Academy #1. I want to talk about this because I feel that this book, although not necessarily fresh just in terms of storytelling in general, but I think at least in the modern realm of Marvel, it's fresh to Marvel. And basically, to sum it up, it is kind of like Xavier's school for gifted youngsters with mutants, but it's Strange's school for gifted magicians. It's very, very Harry Potter-esque. And I really like that Marvel is going kind of a Harry Potter route with the magical mystic side of their universe. To me, the number one reason why is because I think it really speaks to the younger readers. Now, I'm not saying this is a book that's branded young reader material. I do feel that this is something that can be enjoyed for all ages, but it's very, very accessible to those young readers, and that's what I like. I've talked about it before. When you go back into, the Golden Age, Silver Age, especially, but even into the Bronze Age, there wasn't young reader and adult reads. It was comic books, and people of all ages can enjoy them. And I think when we have, as collectors, and we've aged and we see where the market has gone, we want more young readers involved. We talked about last week how books, especially trade paperbacks and graphic novels that are the young reader bracket are really boosting comic book sales right now, and it proves that young people are reading comics. And before I go to my last book, I want to say this. I was watching Comics with Bueller the other night, and he was talking on a show about, is the industry doomed? And they always read comments of people coming in. And I watch the show often, and they always have people commenting saying, oh, these young people don't read comics anymore. Young people don't read comics. Kids don't read comics. It's not true. I have kids. They read comics. And that young reader market is still really huge in terms of physical book sales. So don't underestimate the power of the youth. And I think this is going to be a real decent storyline to follow. And I think it's going to be big with those younger readers. So moving on to my last pick of the week, and that is Venom number 25. Here's a really cool thing. I think this is cool. I mean, it's questionable, but I think it's cool. Venom 25 is, and obviously we have an amazing cover wraparound, but this is still a cameo appearance of Virus. So when you look at the modern market and you look at first appearances, for the most part, everyone wants to go after that true first full appearance. That would be Venom 26. Now, Venom 26 is a hot book as well, but Venom 25 is still the big dollar book. Now, to see this at number one is exciting for me because it shows me that, yes, there's always the argument of the cameo versus the first full, and really it boils down to what the market demands. And usually that market will demand the first full, and usually the first full has to do with, say, the first appearance of the individual on the cover, or a better cover, so to say. But with this book right here, it's kind of defying the odds in modern books, because regardless of it being coined and deemed as a cameo appearance, the market is still demanding it. Buyers are still demanding this book, and I like that because it proves that, look, the market is going to dictate what the buyers want, and it proves the power of the buyers. It proves the power of the collectors. And I like that collectors are demanding a cameo over a first full appearance. I like it, So that's why I wanted to talk about it, because now whether or not that'll stay, I don't know if Venom 26 will kind of, it'll shift gears. But right now, I like that people know it's out there. It's published. This is a cameo. You know what? I'm going to go buy it anyways.
You know what's interesting about, again, we mentioned this like past couple weeks. What's interesting about these lists, these are all modern books. And that shows you the health of the market right now, especially with the setback with COVID and them not delivering issues and things like that. Yeah. Maybe it created a hunger for this new stuff, but I also think there's just some quality stuff being put out there by these creators and publishers, and it's just really exciting. And it honestly, it makes me think about the early, in the 90s when you could spec on a book. I used to spec on books in the 90s. I'm showing my age here, guys, but I would buy 2 issues of that, return the next week to my comic book shop, and trade one of those in so I could buy more comic books. And that's what this is reminding me of, those times. We have more tools now with these websites and apps and things like that, but it's really an exciting time in the new comic book market.
Absolutely. And, to add to that, and again, I'm going to piggyback Comics with Bueller because they mentioned, and I love this about this topic, is that a lot of people do compare what's going on to the 90s. They compare the variant hype to the 90s, or, any kind of speculating to the 90s. It's not the 90s for multiple reasons. But one thing that was addressed on Comics with Bueller's is the fact that I do feel that more speculators these days, regardless of what people say, most speculators are truly diehard comic book fans that just have access to being able to speculate and to have all these things at our fingertips to say, okay, look, I can entertain myself by knowing what's coming out with the previews and what these YouTubers are talking about, or what these apps are speculating on, and so forth. Where in the 90s, and I know being a kid, you probably had a lot of parents and a lot of adults going in and saying, hey, I don't know. All I know is that my kid has a few comic books like on his bed in his bedroom, and I'm hearing all this talk about they're worth money. I'm going to go to a comic book store and buy a bunch of issues and pay for them to go to college. They didn't know really what they were doing. So many more people are actually in the know and are actually educated and dedicated to the hobby in such a way. And that's why I always say speculating is actually extremely healthy for the hobby right now. So I just wanted to add to that. And I absolutely agree.
It's a different time. We're not, the publishers are not producing millions of copies. We have eBay. We have, we have all these the social media to get information out there, and artists can literally talk to people one-on-one with the, with these avenues of with social media. So it's a much closer kind of relationship with consumer to publishers and artists and all that stuff. And again, they're I think it's a completely different time, because the 90s almost ruined comics for good. Literally, Marvel almost went bankrupt in the late 90s. So that's what we got for our top 10 right there. Good job there, Chris. You always do an astounding job of just getting into the details and giving your opinion at the same time.